Welcome to Commander's Comments. I'm your producer for the evening, Harrison. Without further ado, here is our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy.
Thank you, Moose. We appreciate you as always. We're here tonight to do our Commander's Comment once the first Thursday of every month. The first Thursday of this month, our Commander-in-Chief, he's out if he's not already there, he's flying out to California for the division meeting out there. So standing in for the Commander-in-Chief is our Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, Mr. Walter D. Donnie Kennedy, the current Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. And Donald, I believe you've been out to California once before, haven't you, for the SCV meeting?
Absolutely, but I was laughing when you was talking about the commander. I got a text from him about 30 or 40 minutes ago. They had to be rerouted. They was at the airport. Now they've rerouted to, I think, Austin, Texas. They're waiting for the weather to clear. The same weather that they're having in that area is pulling through to my area in North Louisiana. So if y'all lose me, it's not because Ron's tired of looking at me, but if you get a big thunderstorm moving in, my internet will go dead. But you're right. I was in California in 2006. I was invited to come out to speak to the California Division by the then commander of the California Division, a guy y'all may know by Kenny Ramsey. Kenny, they did a great job of putting on a division meeting in California in Bakersfield. It was a wonderful time. Kenny has since relocated to the Army of the Northern Virginia, and he is councilman right now for the Army of Northern Virginia. So kudos to you, Kenny. We had a great event there, and California, I've been there several times since. They are really busting it. Now, Ron, they've got a challenge going on. I'm going to tell you right quick. They're challenging every division in the old Confederacy to match them. They've got a bucket, and I don't know, let's see. If y'all can see, we were given buckets of all things. And they're going to fill these buckets up for raising some funds, and they're challenging all the other divisions to match or beat what California produces. So anyway, with much said about that, we'll talk about fundraising a little bit later here in a minute.
All right. Well, I know that the commander's going to come back with a lot of good news from California. And I believe you met Buck Owens while you was out there once.
I didn't meet him, but I heard him 6 weeks before the man passed away. And I'm going to tell you something. He was amazing. He was amazing on stage. His stage presence was absolutely wonderful. And he died 6 weeks after that event. And that's how I keep up with when Kenny had me out there, because it was the year that Buck Owens died.
Well, except for us old guys, no one else probably remembers Buck Owens, unfortunately. But anyway, a great country and western, really great country and western
entertainer, man.
Back in the days when country and western was really country and western. Amen. All right, let's see. Moose, I don't know if you've got any of the flyers up for the upcoming events. So Donald, don't we have some events coming up we need to go over?
Absolutely. We got national events that's coming up, and I'm going to mention the first one I believe I've got here down is looks like the ATM, the Army of Trans-Mississippi. There you go. National events. You can see that Saturday, April the 6th. We got a good line of speakers. It's being held at the battlefield of Mansfield. Mansfield and Pleasant Hill was the battles at the really the last great hurrah of the Confederate military forces, where Richard Taylor, the son of President Zachary Taylor and brother-in-law of President Jefferson Davis, he kicked Yankee butt and chased them all the way down the Red River. And so we're going to have a national event there. Y'all come and listen. If you have any questions, you can go on your Confederate Veterans, and it's a full page ad on that event. And there's another event coming up, the national event on April the 27th at Stone Mountain. So we're going to see y'all at Stone Mountain, and by all means, take a look at that. And go to that and help these local people put on these national events. We're letting people around the world know that we're still here and we're fighting the good fight. And while I'm talking about events, let's don't forget to mention the 2024 reunion, the SCV reunion, July the 16th through the 20th. Actually, it'll start, our part will start on the 17th, Wednesday. Registration opens at noon at 7 o'clock. So that's hosted by the Secession Camp number 4 out of Charleston, South Carolina. Folks, this is a great venue and they're going to put on a wonderful event. I've often said, if it's any better than the last event they put on in Charleston, it's going to be spectacular. And everybody assures me it's going to be even better. So you don't want to miss that event. And again, look in your Confederate Veteran magazine and you'll have all the information there on who to go to, where to go, hotels, etc. So by all means, take a look at that. So that's it. Ron, I think you've got 1 or 2 events that we'll be attending here shortly, don't you?
Well, we got the one in the AOT training session yeah, there we go. Is that, I'm trying to see.
That's in Wetumpka. That's the one in, I believe.
Yeah, I keep on want to say Platteville, but it's Wetumpka. Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's,
in Tennessee. So,
wait, throw that back up, Moose. I think that was the pilgrimage. Let's see, ATM conference.
That's why. This is the during the pilgrimage on May the 4th at Elm Springs. They'll also be putting on a workshop for the Army of Tennessee for all those that can make that. Make sure you make it. You can participate in the pilgrimage as well.
There you go.
Okay, and then let's see. Put that one back up, Moose. Let's see. That's the pilgrimage. So make sure you
notice the keynote speaker there is Wadowski. That's a real Southern name there. South Poland, I believe, but she's President General of the United Daughters of the Confederacy. I believe she has an article in this Confederate Veteran magazine, I believe. So come on out and hear this lady. She is a wonderful lady, a very pro-South lady, pro-Confederate, and the UDC. The UDC, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have hardly any of the monuments up. And so we really owe them. I think Ron and I, Hugh and I remember being the kids walking by the monument there in Hazelhurst, Mississippi, and it had on the base of United Daughters of the Confederacy. So we really owe them a world of gratitude. So by all means, let's come support that. And Ryan, the one in Wetumpka, when is that event?
Well, it says May 4th here, so AOT meeting, but I thought that was in March. That's wrong. It's coming up.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you.
There you go. Alabama Education Conference in Wetumpka, Alabama. I believe that's where. That's
the one.
And the reason
that's March the 16th.
Yes, and the reason I know that's in Wetumpka because that's where my wife's great-great-grandfather, Confederate William Wesley Church, who was an Alabama Confederate soldier. That's where he was from. So we're excited about going back to her home territory. There's the speakers.
There's a list of speakers. So, Donald, don't we have one coming up in North Louisiana? This is just a local thing, but I want to see if Moose can throw that one up for Bayou Darbone.
What is it, Moose? How do you say that, Moose? It's the Battle of Bayou Darbone, and that's this weekend. By all means, it's going to be a great event. Listen, this is one of the big events in this area. It's a small town, but it's got a big lake here, Lake Darbone, and they got a Bayou Darbone that flows through that area. And they're doing a reenactment and living history, and the SCV and our cause gets a lot of credit for putting on a wonderful event. So if you're in the area, by all means, check it out. The Battle of Bayou Darbone.
All right. I think
get Moose to say that, but he won't do it.
Yeah, he has trouble with that Bayou Darbon. But anyway, and I think that takes care of most of our immediately upcoming events. Do want to talk about now that something very important for the Confederation, and that's our pro-South friendly media list. Now, this is something I want to explain very carefully. What we're trying to do is to arrange an entire list of actual or potentially friendly media. For instance, and I'll use North Louisiana for example. Ouachita Citizen is a weekly paper. They've run ads for us, no problem. They do good editorializing. They're very good, down-to-earth people. That's a Confederate-friendly media outlet. Now, there's outlets like that all over Louisiana. There's all over Mississippi, Alabama, you go down the list, South Carolina, West Virginia, Texas, they're all over the South. We need to know who they are. We need to know the newspapers, and we also need the radio, because I know there's at least two, again, using Louisiana as an example, there's at least two radio DJs that are very friendly to our cause. So we need their names and their contact information. Don't forget about podcasters. I went over to a gun range, and a guy there, he does podcasting once a month. He does a Second Amendment type of podcasting, but I need to know him so we can have a list of all these people that are in the media that are potentially friendly. And when the chief, when the CIC wants to send out a news release, I'm going to take those and put them on a list. And all we got to do is take the news release, attach it, punch a button, and immediately it goes out to 100 to 200 pro-South media people. Now, Donald, there's two things that we want to do with that. Number one, we want to get our message out. Not every one of those people will run our news release, but a lot of them will. And number two, a lot of them, they'll start knowing who we are. They'll start looking for our information. Very important. We want to get around the censorship of the mainline media. So this is very important. Now, in order to get that information, what we're doing is that we're doing what's called a beta test. We've got a form already designed, and it's already on a website where you can go in and type in the information, because we need web addresses and especially email addresses. When you start filling out by handwriting, I'm sorry, a lot of your handwriting is as good as mine, i.e. when it gets cold, you can't read it. And that won't work for emails, but you can go now. You'll be able to click on the Confederate Legion website, and it has a site for the media form. You click on that, and you can actually use your keyboard to click in and type in the information, hit send, and it goes to the Confederate Legion. I'll pick it up, and I'll then put it in an Excel type of sheet, Access or some type of sheet, so that we can then go ahead and have a list and be able to get this information out. Now, I want people who are listening to go to this website. You see KennedyTwins.com/forum. You see what the site is there. Hopefully, Moose will put it in the comment section so we can go ahead and people will be able to see it. So, and go to it. And now listen, Donald, why is it on the Kennedy Twins website?
Well, first of all, we have a webmaster that will get this done overnight for us on ours, and we can test everything there. Once
now, when you say we, you're talking about the Kennedy Twins.
The Kennedy Twins. We pay for this all. We pay for the webmaster. We pay for the site, and we can get it on it overnight. I can send it to our webmaster. Bam, it's there. Unless he's sick or out of town, no problem. Plus, we get to test it. This is Ron calls this a beta test. Well, it's just a simple dry run to make sure we got all the bugs out of it. So we need a few people to try it out on the Kennedy Twins site. Once we know it's working correctly, it goes to our webmaster. It'll go to the scv.org website on the Confederate Legion site there. So then you'll be able to fill it out and it'll go directly to the Confederate Legion, and no more Kennedy Twins. But a lot of things we put on the Kennedy Twins site is you don't go to our site, you go directly to this. You don't have to look at anything else on the Kennedy Twins site at all. You don't even know you're on there. All you know is all of a sudden this information is in front of you for this form. So it's easy for us, for Ron and myself, to get it done quickly, and it's efficient. Once we know it's working well, it's going to go on the Confederate Legion site there on the scv.org. And like Ron said, this is a test run. We're going to try to work the bugs out right now is what we're doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see Al has got here, John Reed, WRVA Richmond is a pro-Southern history, has a large audience in Virginia. Al, we need you to go on that website as scrolling across right now and try and fill that information out. And you'll see when you pull it up that you may not right now have all the information. You need to look up his email address, his website, municipal or post office box address, that type of thing. But if you'll do that, if there's people like that all over we should have 200 or 300 names of friendly people. We'll get to it. Tony Griffin said we'll get right there. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate that. We'll get right to it. So now, when you go to the Kennedy Twins website, the form at the top of the form says Kennedy Twins. When it goes over and we complete the test and we got all the bugs worked out and it goes to the Confederate Legion website, it will say Confederate Legion. It won't have anything about the Kennedy Twins on it.
Exactly.
But we're using this because we can get it done much quicker. I hope to have it hopefully by May, June, we'll have everything ready. We've also got some radio ads that needs to be posted. So we got a lot of work to do on that yet. So please take time to help us out. Be part of the beta test. And if you have trouble, email me.
Yeah. And where can they email, Ron?
It's the Moose, do you have the Confederate Legion web address? He'll put it up in just a minute.
And if nothing else, they can email me on the SCB LTCIC SCB.org.
Confederate Legion at Reagan.com.
Yeah, and let us know if you're having trouble or if you don't see anything. So, but I want to make one quick comment that Ron hit on a while ago. What this gives us, this whole friendly media outlets, it gives us a way to circumvent the censorship that we are up against. And it is severe, people. It is severe, but we can circumvent that. And the good thing about it is once we start doing that, the bigger media outlets will be forced then, just from the pressure of business, to listen to us a little more often. And one thing about it, your political establishment will see and read. They read the Ouachita Citizen. That's in my area, the Ouachita Parish. So they're the same thing with every state, every issue, every paper, every radio and podcast. So let's get this going. And the good thing about it, we can really contact in a year's time hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Southerners, and they'll hear about the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's hard to be a well-kept secret when you got millions of people hearing about you. And guess Ron, how much would this cost that SCB?
Oh, I don't know. We might not. It'll cost us nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And so let's get this thing rolling.
All right, that's great. All right, I got that out of the way, so we know why. And then really, I need every camp. Matter of fact, I'm hoping that the camps will make this part of their camp project once we get the form up. Now it's a little early, except for those of you who are willing to be part of the beta test. But it's once we get this on the Confederate Legion website, I want this to be a camp project. Every camp can get together and say, oh, let's see, so and so's a good newspaper editor, and he writes good conservative, constitutional editorials. This put him down as a either actually friendly pro-South or a potentially friendly pro-South media individual. Let's see. Okay, we got all that done. All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the Stephen D. Lee 2025 program. We just got finished, and we'll talk about that next, the Stephen D. Lee Institute. But we're looking for someone, camps, division, to host Stephen D. Lee for 2025. That's usually in February of 2020 of each year. So if your camp's interested, if your division is interested, contact. Probably the best thing to do is to contact me at the Confederate Legion Reagan.com. Put that back up. There you go. Just email me and say, we're interested in hosting. What does it all entail? And I can send you a little thing to show you what it entails if you've never done it before. Chuck McMichael, past Commander Chuck McMichael, has graciously volunteered to help walk you through doing it. He's done several of them. He was in charge of the last one. Chris Sullivan also is in the Army of Northern Virginia. He's done several, and he will be glad to, help you out, get everything arranged to do it. So we need somebody for 2025. We also need someone for 2026. We need to keep these rolling ahead. So if I don't get some volunteers, that means we had to not do a Stephen D. Lee, and I don't want to do that. I want to have this going continually. Donald, did you have something?
Well, I just said, since you're talking about things to do in the future, it's a good time to remind folks we're still looking for someone to host, I believe, the 2027 and 2028 reunion. Come on, camp, step up. Let's get some. The secession camp there in Charleston, South Carolina is hosting the current one, 2025. We've got, I believe, possibly, it looks like up in North Carolina, up in, what's the name of that city in North Carolina? But anyway, in North Carolina, they will host the 2026. They're talking about that. But we do need people to step up for 2027, 2028. And we'll be glad to help you out, get you the information that you need, and let's get these things rolling. We need to be ahead of the game and not wait till the last minute, because putting on a reunion, it's a lot more difficult than just putting on a division reunion. But we got a lot of assets and a lot of people who've done this many times who are more than happy to assist you. So let's think about it, and that's the one thing I wanted to kind of mention right quick.
All right, I do want to talk about the videos that we did in the 2024 Stephen D. Lee. That it was a great event, but we had a fellow by the name of Rick Revels there. He's a professional videographer, and I don't know what all you would call him, because he's got programs on Roku TV, History Highway. He's a real professional. He's got a good team working, and they did what I would say videotaped it. I don't know. You don't videotape anything. You digitally recorded it, all the speeches, and he's working on it now. It's going to take a little bit of time to cut and paste and get it down to concise each of the speeches. And Chuck McMichael was pretty good about keeping us all on time. So they're all between 45 and 50 minutes each. And once they get ready, we'll post them on the Confederate Legion website, how you can take the URL and get to the videos. We want people to see the quality of the work that we've done at the Stephen D. Lee. Moose, do you have some of those pictures of the Stephen D. Lee Institute that we had? Yeah, this is Frank Walsh from North Louisiana. He gave a talk on the Celtic connection and the country and Western music, how the Celtic influence. Did a great job. He was the man that, well, don't tell him about Frank. He's up in your part of the world.
Well, Frank and a lot of the reenactors, when we were involved in the 12th Louisiana reenacting infantry group, the original 12th Louisiana from North Louisiana, the boys there that left off to a war, they were musicians too, and they had a band. And as being 12th Louisiana reenactors, we wanted to get a band started. And Frank Walsh is an excellent musician, a great singer, and he helped put together, really in my backyard, the 12th Louisiana Regimental String Band and Benevolent Society, as they call themselves. And he is really strong in the Celtic connection in music, country music, and Southern music. And he did a fine job there at the Stephen D. Lee Institute. Can't say enough good things about him.
I think a lot of people will enjoy that video. See, don't you have another one where some Kennedy was talking? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But I did the presentation on Celtic warriors engraved from the ancient time to modern times. The war continues. Again, I had a lot of fun putting that together, contrasting the difference between the essentially Celtic culture of the South and the materialistic Yankee culture of New England. Again, about 45, 50 minutes presentation. Again, another good program. We don't have pictures of it, but Forest Dogs did a great presentation on the history of the SCV, something that I think, again, many of you in your camps would really enjoy learning about. So, there was just a lot of presentations going on. We're going to get those videos done and give you the URL where you can download it. And my suggestion, and this is just my suggestion, is that if you have a camp meeting and you don't have a speaker for the month, download one of these videos when we get them posted. Got to get them posted first. That's that work we're doing on our Confederate Legion website, but we'll get them posted. You can download the link and send it to every one of your camp members and say, listen to this, and then at our meeting, we're going to discuss it. You could take it and bring a TV and show it at the meeting, but I think it'd be a lot more fun have, even if just half of your people watched it, to come back to the meeting and discuss what they saw, what they liked about it, new things they'd learned, and it'll generate interest. It'll be a lively meeting. You'll have all your members involved and not just sitting there listening to one speaker. I think that's a great asset. And again, this shows what the National is doing. Now, one of the guys, the only person running for CIC right now, of course, somebody else can still announce, but the one person I know that's running, he wants to make sure that the National SCV is doing more to help the local camps, to have better meetings, more enjoyable meetings, help with the retention and help with recruiting. And that's going to be a focus that we're really looking at in the future. And this is part of it. So, and Donald, I believe you and Rick Rebels did a video on who?
William Johnson. Yeah, this guy that did our videography at the Stephen D. Lee Institute, Rick Rebels. Some of you fellows from Tennessee may already know him, but he has a channel. It's AMETV, which is on Roku. It's also on Amazon Fire. And he has a program called History Highway, AMETV. History Highway is his program. Now, he's done a interview with Commander Brochures and Ron and myself at the museum when it first opened. He's done a lot of advertising of really some I would say almost free advertising for the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and of course we paid for some too. But he ran the Forest Dawes If Walls Could Talk ad, which is a 2-minute ad. He ran it for the price of a 1-minute ad, and we've got a lot of stuff from that, a lot of good feedback from that. But he's on, like I say, Amazon Fire and on Roku, AME TV on Roku. So take a look at him. Now, we went to Natchez, Mississippi, Rick and myself, and we did 2 videos there. One on William Johnson, a free man of color who lived right in the middle of Natchez, Mississippi, in a nice little antebellum home. He was a slaveholder, a plantation owner, a businessman, and he was very literate. He was a well-known hunter. Gee, he had guns, Ron. And so so many things we talk about in this video, and we talk about William Johnson. It slaps the stereotypical view of an evil, racist South right in the face, and William Johnson his life does a great thing on that. We also did a video on the Punch Bowl, an area where the Yankees, after they destroyed the plantation, the slaves had nowhere to go, and they ended up collecting them in hills and hollers around Natchez, Mississippi, and it was like a concentration camp, and they died by the thousands there. So we did a video on that. And of course, this helps get our message about a different view of the South out. So look for Rick Revel either on AME TV on Roku or on Amazon Fire, History Highway. It's episode 3, season 3, episode 23 is the one about William Johnson.
Okay, I see Tony Griffin says the Virginia Division is currently looking into locations for 2026 also. I guess that's 2026 reunion. Do we have that already?
I think we may have the 26th reunion. You may be talking about the Stephen D. Lee.
I know it. So I don't know which one. But anyway, he said he had to sign off early. So, but anyway, also I see Ryan Rogers. Thanks, Ryan. He said, I watched the William Johnson episode recently. Very interesting. So thank you. Good feedback. All right, Donald, we're getting close to the Pop-Tart break. I want to talk quickly about some positive things that's going on as far as winning the conservative Southern Heritage Movement winning. But I wanted to show you that, first of all, things are moving in our favor, not just in the Southern Heritage Movement. Moose, do you have that the map that shows that here's the constitutional carry states in the United States? There's 28 states. And when this map was done, and by the way, today I see that South Carolina has a bill on the governor's desk for his signature. That's the 29th state. So you can see most of the South, Virginia and North Carolina, we need to get y'all on board, but most of the South now is a constitutional carry state. You don't need permission of the government. Of course, you still have to be, you can't be a felon, et cetera, et cetera. There's certain rules that go with that. But the idea is things are moving in our direction. Over in Alabama, let me see if I can see this. I just saw this today. There was a bill that was trying to that would have ended up banning with an anti-Confederate flag bill is what it was. But they said that the Senate committee members talked about having received over 600 emails and text messages against the original Senate Bill number 4, and that Senate bill has been changed, amended, and probably will die. But that shows that we can have an impact. In Georgia, I just saw this, and Donald, you and Jason have been trading emails with
Tim Pilgrim.
Timothy Pilgrim, I'm sorry.
Tim Pilgrim.
Pilgrim, about the legislation in Georgia trying to mess up Stone Mountain. And he says, and as of 3:45, this is February the 11th, the governor had received over 821 emails and not between 900 and 924 emails sent to the legislators against the bill. And this was using our one-click politics. So it's very important. Go ahead, Donald.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick point here. And this is a shout out to people in California, Michigan, New Jersey, all our SCV members and camps that are outside of the South. You people don't realize the impact you have when the governor of Georgia or Alabama or some legislator from the deep South, when they get emails from people outside of the South saying, hey, what are you doing to our heritage? Southern heritage is American heritage. If they get that from Michigan, it's 10 times more important than if they get it from Mississippi, because it's people outside of the South that's saying this. And as our poll, our national SCV poll proves, over 60% of Americans agree that Southern heritage should be left alone, monuments should not come down, and that Southern heritage is American heritage also. So you people outside of the deep South, you are very critical, very important, and very useful in this fight against this wokeism. So thank God for the people out there. And I just want to give a shout out to all of you outside of Dixie, how much we really appreciate you and how important. Sometimes you feel like you're outside of the South, you're really not important to the Confederation. Oh, yes, you are. You're very, very important.
All right, and one last thing I saw in Texas, I just got this, a number of rhinos was defeated in the Texas primary, and they were defeated by men and women who had taken a pledge to support the Texas secession movement. So this is, I mean, this shows you that people are getting fed up, that they're wanting a change.
Exactly.
I says amusingly incumbent, and it gave the incumbent's name, who had mailed out postcards blasting his opponent for being a supporter of Texas independence. That incumbent lost 2-1. So people are getting fed up. I mean, this is our time. What we need to do is to get our message out to the public. And the way we do that is, I'll give you an example. The AOT, I'm not going to say where because I don't want to say something before they're ready to say it, but there's an area in the Army of Tennessee where the state capitol, the people are ready, got the money ready to put billboards up on every interstate coming into the state capitol. SCV, pro-SCV billboards. There's also radio ads. I know we've run them in where down? Where all have we ran them?
All across. Right now, we've got some going in. We've got some going in Louisiana and Texas area. We had some in Virginia. But right at the last GEC meeting, Roy Hudson from down in the lower end of Florida, he approached me about if his camp raised X number of dollars, could we get any assistance from maybe the Confederate Legion or somewhere to run even more ads? And I said, absolutely. I said, we want everybody in Florida to know what the SCV is. And he told me, and I apologize to Commander Calvin Hart if I'm wrong on this, but I believe Roy said that Commander Calvin Hart, the Florida Division Commander, that they had ran some ads on a big radio station in the Jacksonville area that went up into Georgia and maybe even into South Carolina. So people are busy. They're either running ads on their own or they get with the Confederate Legion running our 60 seconds ad. So folks, we can do this. We can make a difference. As Commander Hart and as Roy Hudson down in the southern part of the state are proving, you don't have to take it. We can give it back to the enemy. And remember, for too long, the Sons of Confederate Veterans has been a well-kept secret. It's time that we let the world know that we're here, we're proud of our heritage, and you, John Q. Public, you have a right to be proud of your ancestors and your heritage too. And guess what, Mr. Politicians? if you vote against that, our heritage, we will remember that.
Absolutely. And listen, wouldn't it be nice one day to be sitting at your TV screen watching Newsmax or listening to Tucker Carlson or Don Bongino? Wouldn't it be nice all of a sudden to see that if walls could talk, video showing advertising the SCV? And it's about Pop-Tart break time. So, Moose, if you'll run that If Walls Could Talk ad, all of y'all think about what it would be, the impact it would have if we can get this going national. We've got a plan, and we're going to spend the rest of our time after the break talking about the plan so we can take this thing national. Moose, if you have the ad, run it for us.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Man, I can't wait to see that on national TV, national media. I want to be able to put it on Breitbart where you just click on our logo. Now, they may not take our Confederate flag logo, but we'll use our subterfuge logo. Click on that, and they'll go straight to that. We're going to get the message out.
Ron, why can't we why don't we just pick up the phone and call them up right now and say, hey, that ad that's going to cost us $10,000, $15,000, we want it ran right now. Why don't we do that?
Well, since you're the Lieutenant Commander in Chief, and I'm just in an appointed position, you've been on the GEC longer than I have. Why is it that all of our discretionary funds are tied up right now? What's going on?
Well, I was hoping I was going to throw that hot potato to you, but I see it didn't work. Right now, folks, we're spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $14,000 a month servicing a banknote. This banknote is coming down. We back when we started looking at this, it was probably up around $2 million or $1.75 million. It's down to 1.1 million down. So we're slowly but surely getting it down. Here's the problem. Come July of 2025, if this banknote hasn't been paid down sufficiently, and the way the interest rates is going right now, we've got a decent interest rate. That banknote could be double or triple. That would cripple our ability to continue running some of the things we're doing now. Now, are we in a situation that we're bankrupt? Absolutely not. Do we have a little cash flow problem? We always have a cash flow problem towards the end of the fiscal year because all the dues have been paid and the new dues are beginning to come in. That's not a problem. We're financially solvent. We've got everything squared away, but we do have obligations that we must meet. Just like if you got a house note, you got to meet it, or guess what? The bank owns your house. So we've got to do that. Right now we're spending $10,000 to $14,000 a month servicing that bank note. What I want to do, what Ron wants to do, what Jason Brochure wants to do, what the GEC wants to do is let's take care of that bank note, get it off our back within 18 months, put the Forest Plaza back together, put Forrest where he belongs, and let's have a big celebration. Then we use those funds that was going to the bank to promote the cause of the South, to vindicate at last our Confederate ancestors. And Ron, I'm going to throw it back to you because we've got a project that the GEC has studied and has approved that we're going to attempt to get this financial monkey off our back and get busy fighting the neo-Marxist enemy instead of just paying banknotes.
Yeah, just imagine what we could do. You know, the Confederate Legion, with the income that the good people who are members of Confederate Legion, we've been able to support radio ads. We've been able to do this, that, and the other, Dixie Defenders, you name it. But that is minor compared to being able to spend between $8,000 and $12,000 a month promoting the cause. PR campaign, a major PR campaign. It will help the local camps. It'll help the division. We will grow membership. Our hope is to double our membership so that once that's done, we're going to be as strong in the South as the NRA is nationally. But we got to get this debt taken care of. Now, the debt is a albatross around our neck. The museum is not an albatross about our neck. It is a major asset. It is a major tool. We wouldn't be able to run this if walls could talk ad if we didn't have the museum.
That's right.
So
you're absolutely right.
The albatross is not the museum, it's the debt. So here we are. This is what we're looking at. We've established, and the GEC has approved it, the 21st Century Confederate Heroes. We're looking for a minimum of 1,500 pro-Southerners who will contribute $1,000 to this 21st Century Confederate Heroes Fund. We'll use that money to pay off this mortgage, the bank mortgage, and fund the completion of the Forest Plaza back up on the pedestal where he belongs, repair that statue that was damaged a little bit, have a beautiful plaza out there. What is it, about 50 by 75?
50 by 75. 50 by 75, if I remember
really
correctly.
Nice plaza out there. I mean, it's going to be a major event when we open that up. But what we're looking for is 1,500 people who'll step up and say, yes, I've given money in the past, just like Donnie and I and other people, all of you have. But here, I want to be a part of the 21st Century Confederate Heroes. And
what are they going to get if they do this?
All right. I'm going to go back here to the summary. It says, the following is a summary of what the donors will receive for their $1,000 donation. And Donald, you stop and do a little explaining as I go through. First, we're going to have a book at the headquarters, the 21st Century Confederate Heroes. It'll be a volume. We're talking about 500 pages, so 1,500 people. That'll be a 3-volume set. The official volumes will be held at the museum. And in that will be a list of all the donors who will provide. Now, Donald, I say, who are you looking at honoring?
All right. Now, at the GEC meeting, we had probably about over $6,000. People just gave checks. I gave mine, and I'm going to honor my wife's Alabama ancestors. So there will be a page in there with his picture in there with a little description of Betty's family and of course the guy that she married. We had to put something negative on there. I'll be on there, but we'll have a picture of that. And if she wants to have a picture of some of her family, we can have that, because this page will be a page in a book. Each donor will have a page, and he can honor his Confederate ancestors. He can put his name on there and his family history, whatever you want to do on that page. And it'll be part of the volume of books. That's going to be a 3-volume set. You get 1,500 people in there.
Okay. And again, you can honor your ancestors, or myself, I'm buying one to honor a son that I lost. So I want one in memorial. So I want to, and he was a fine drummer in the 12th Louisiana Infantry, a great reenactor. And so I want to honor him. So that he's going to be a picture of him, and down to bottom, the name of my name will be down to bottom of it. So he'll have a page in there and a section set aside for in memory of. So those of you who want to honor a loved one that's passed, and they don't have to necessarily be someone who was in the SCV. I know people who have lost their loved ones. They want to honor them. Great. $1,000, it goes in there. Now, in addition to that, every donor will get their own personal copy. Whatever volume your ancestor or the person you're honoring, whatever volume they're in, you're going to get your own copy of that book. You're also going to get a special exclusive neck ribbon. One time only neck ribbon. One time only neck ribbon. It's going to be a navy blue with a real nice medal on here saying a Confederate hero, a 21st century Confederate hero on it. So you'll have your own neck ribbon to wear at meetings, to camp meetings. So that you'll get that. You'll also get a paver, and that's a 8x8 paver, 8-inch by 8-inch paver. And on that you can put, for instance, Donald will put, what's the name of the church?
William Wesley Church.
William Wesley Church.
And
probably.
His unit.
Was he a private or what?
Yeah, private. William Wesley Church, 48th Alabama Infantry, Volunteer Infantry, and all that information. And then
yeah, so that'll be on the paver. Now, the pavers are going to go on the walkway of 21st century Confederate heroes. And that walkway goes from the museum toward Elm Springs. Now, we haven't decided whether it's going to go all the way to Elm Springs or take a right-hand turn from the museum and go over to the plaza. That's we're still working on that. But so you'll have your paver will be there. You'll also get a certificate, a lovely certificate suitable for framing, designating the donor as a 21st century Confederate hero. Then every donor that wants to do this can submit one PowerPoint slide of the person you're honoring. And so that slide is going to be on a revolving PowerPoint slide on a large screen TV in the entrance as you go into the museum off to your right. And so it'll be there showing everyone who contributed. Now, if it's 1,500, it's going to take a long time, but we're going to try to work it out so that if you're a contributor and this is your first trip to the museum, we'll be able to pull up so we can show you, so you'll see yours as well. That's going to be quite a thing to do. Also, the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief has graciously offered to purchase 12 forest flags.
Yeah,
and these forest
battle flag.
Yeah, forest Confederate flag will go up at the Forest Plaza. And each month, after we open up the plaza, each month we'll pull one down and we'll have a drawing from everybody in that list of 1,500. And you may win the forest flag. So we'll do 12 of those. Let's see, have we left anything out, Don?
Well, organizations can also be part of it. So if every SCV camp alone would say, "Hey, I want to be part of this," that's 800 people, $800,000 right there, folks.
That's almost half of the number that we're shooting for, right there.
Exactly.
Now, also division officers, current and past, you can put there'll be a section for division officers. So if I was the past commander of Louisiana Division, if I want to put that in there, I can put my picture with my gewgaw on from when I was young and had hair. No one would recognize me, but so you can go do that. Go ahead, Don.
But remember, this is for organizations. So your divisions, your camps, but also UDC units, Order of Confederate Rose units, they can do this. So there are many pro-South Confederate type of organization. They may want to contribute. So if
businesses,
now listen, do what, sir?
Businesses can
business, anybody. So, but here's the thing about it. It has to be approved by the GEC. So if you got an organization that maybe somebody that ne'er-do-well that is just a horrible individual and his organization wants to be part of this, the GEC has the right to say, no, we don't want you associated with our group. So it has to be someone who agrees with the general overview of the Sons of Confederate Veterans.
Okay, now let me talk about payment methods, because if you're retiree like me, you're limited. You can do an initial payment and then set you up on a credit card payment, do a monthly $50 a month payment and pay it off like that. As soon as you sign up and make your initial payment, whether it's in full or in part, you're going to get your neck ribbon, because we want you wearing that neck ribbon. We want everybody to say, now, what is that? I want that neck ribbon. Let me get in on this, because it's limited, 1,500 people. Now we got right at 24,000 members. So
26,000
plus friends or different organizations. So you might want to take a quick look at it, but it can be done through the quote easy payment plan, which is probably what Donald I'll do when we'll probably do one for the Kennedy twins. So again, there's a business type thing that we'll do. But listen, folks, this is the easiest way to pay off $1.1 million debt and have money left over to put Forrest where he belongs, to complete that plaza, to really show the world that our ancestors were willing to sacrifice not just their resources, not just their time, but their very lives itself. And we are going to do the same thing. We have been doing it. Probably everyone listening here has been doing it. But this gives you an opportunity to create a legacy, because this certificate, this neck ribbon, will be passed down generation to generation. And think, my great-grandfather was a Confederate soldier, and I'm so proud of him. Well, my great-grandchildren can look back at me and say, look, he was a Confederate hero because he was willing to stand up and give his time, money, and resources to fight the woke terrorists that was trying to destroy our Southern heritage. We have our Southern heritage, 2046, 2060, because people today in 2024, 2025 were willing to step up and alleviate this debt so we could then go on the offensive to really change the narrative, to take charge of the narrative, and to grow our organization. Because that's what we've got to do. We can do this if we can free up these funds. And again, the mortgage payment is an albatross about our neck. It's a drag anchor that's slowing us down. The museum is not an albatross. It's a great asset. But the old idea of build it and they shall come. That's just in the movies, folks. We've got to be able to advertise this place. And we can't advertise it on nickels and dimes. We need to be spending between $8,000 and $12,000 a month. And if we do that, we're going to create enough positive flow, positive information. We're going to, number one, retain people, because our own people will see action. And most of the people that have joined recently the SCV, they didn't want to join a Civil War club. They wanted to join a movement to save their heritage. Well, this will show true movement. Once we start spending this kind of money every month, once we start showing up on national media, it will make a major difference. And it's going to make it a lot easier to recruit new members. And I hope that within 24 months after we complete this and get this paid off and start our massive PR campaign, we're going to double the number of members in the Sons of Confederate Veterans. We will be to the Southern Heritage Movement what the NRA is to the Second Amendment. All right, Donnie, we're at 8 o'clock. Can you believe that?
Yeah, well, I just need to say a few things about what's going on. Oh, this document, Ron, where will it be? Because we have a full document that talks about the 21st century Confederate heroes, this whole project, and it's going to be posted where?
Well, first of all, it's going to be posted on the Confederate Legion website, but that will probably not happen before the end of April. So if I urge everyone, if you want a copy of it, you can email. Don, why don't you let them email the? Email the Confederate Legion web email address. There you go. Confederate Legion at Reagan.com, and say, send me the 21st century information on the 21st century Confederate heroes, and I'll give you an e-copy and you can read it. It is 3.5 pages. So, and it explains it pretty well, even though the Kennedys wrote it. So it's.
Well, I think one thing that people need to understand is, number one, we didn't create the debt. We didn't create the problem, but we're the ones here now. And when I say we, I'm talking about every SCV member. I'm not talking about just the GEC. I'm talking about everybody. We are here now. We're going to solve this problem because, number one, nobody likes to have a debt hanging over them. But number two, the most important thing is, we must provide the means of vindicating the cause for which our Confederate ancestors fought. If we don't have the public relation ability, and it takes money to get advertising and notice, just think what it would be if somebody driving down south, every southern state he came to, there's a big billboard there that says, "Welcome to Tennessee, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, heritage is ours." Some positive aspect. Every southern state, going from Texas to Louisiana, from North Carolina to South Carolina. Just think of the impact that alone would have. Just think if every time you turn on the TV, go to Newsmax or to Fox News, you hear some type of advertising, pro-South advertising. Now, Ron said we have trouble sometimes getting advertisers to take our logo, the Confederate flag. I've had trouble getting ads for the Sons of Confederate Veterans, but talk about that museum. As soon as I said I'm running an ad for the National Confederate Museum, no problem. You see, the museum is a tool that we can use right now to get our name out there. Otherwise, we would be blocked. Plus, that museum tells the correct story about the South. And if we get enough advertising going, PR campaign, it's whether you're selling Cokes or whether you're selling peanuts, whether you're selling Chevrolet cars, advertising is what you have to do. We have a product. Our product is Southern heritage. We have the means of getting that product out, but we got to get it in front of John Q. Public. And when it's in front of John Q. Public, it gets in front of those wormy politicians, and they will learn to fear us. I don't care if those wormy politicians don't like us. I want them to fear us because we're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it any longer.
All right, with that uplifting statement, I think, Moose, we have just about gone beyond our time limit by 4 minutes. I want to thank everyone for being on. Please share this. And Moose, if you will send me the link to this program, I will send out on the Confederate Legion list the link, and I'm going to ask everybody to share it, take a look at it, especially the last part where we are talking about this 21st century Confederate heroes. This is an effort that can be done, but it's going to take all of our efforts. It's going to take all of our willingness to really buckle down and get this done so we can start using this money to fight the cause. And that's the bottom line. Yes. With that, Lieutenant Commander, you got any last words?
Hey, if I get started again, we'll be here another hour. So, I think that's enough said. But God save the South, and God bless the members of the Sons of Confederate Veterans and the ladies of the United Daughters of Confederacy and the Order of Confederate Rose. These are some groups that have been just out there fighting the good fight, among others. Now, there are other groups too, but I appreciate every one of them. So, fellas, let's get busy. Let's get this done, and let's get our name in front of John Q. Public, and let's win this week. And I've said this so many times, we don't have to accept defeat. We can win, and we can do it if we get this taken care of in this project, 21st Century Confederate Heroes Project. I believe we can do this, folks.
All right. With that, I'm asking everybody to give this your prayer for consideration. This is going to make a major change in the SCV. You'll see once this is done, you'll see an SCV that you won't recognize. It'll be totally different. Absolutely. It'll be a charging cavalry. It'll be forest. Put the scare in them and keep the scare on them. That's what we want to do. But we got to get this mortgage taken care of. And I believe with your help, we can do it. God bless you all. God save the South. Moose, take over.